My name is Joan Dixon. We're in Provo, Utah at Brigham Young University, and I was interested to find out more about this project because as I was reading about it, it reminded me of basically what I've been doing since I moved back here to Utah, which is finding out what people are doing. But we had Cambodians, Laotians, Vietnamese, and Hmong being resettled in our community. And so I started working with the English as Second Language programs, and I was working on a master's degree in organizational behavior. They said I could learn to be a change agent, and I thought, I think we need to change the world. And here's all these newcomers coming into our community. How do the institutions deal with them? How do the schools deal with them? How do we integrate them? So that's what got me started. Helping solve the problems of the world is actually a very humbling kind of things because they're so complex. And I'm in, when I was in Indonesia, I was working with the Ministry of Education. I mean, we were working in 9 different provinces around the country, and I was training trainers who trained trainers who, all of these different levels of things. And I really recognized that if an adult is going to learn to read or write, it's because of the teacher of the class that they were in and the person who knows their name. And it's not as a result of the foreign expert who came and helped design the program and trained the people. It's because of that person who actually knew their name and spent the time to help them to read and write. And I think in any kind of a project, it is that. You have to maintain that humility and recognize all of these people who are doing something to make a difference. A lot of the things we find in development work is that you think you're solving a problem, and sometimes there's these unanticipated side effects or consequences that you're giving all these handouts to feed people or to solve a problem, and then you make them dependent on you. Or you raise their expectations and you realize that you didn't go about it in quite the right way, that you have to find ways to have a better dialogue with people and find out what they want and step a little more to the background and let them develop instead of coming in and doing things for themselves. And so I think a lot about the kinds of things we talk about in this class are looking at, huge projects like World Bank, building dams and displacing people, and there's a lot of controversy whether it's at the highest levels or even the smallest levels, that it's not always what you think it is. And so learning to look at the complexity, to anticipate potential problems, to learn to have humility and learn from mistakes. I don't think I've identified any organization that does things perfectly, and certainly all of the things I've tried to do, it's like this learning by trial and error. But often you have to make those mistakes in order to learn the lesson. And so I think sometimes we have to look beyond and say, I don't want to be a cog in a wheel of something that pays money when I can actually be creating something that will make a difference and makes a better world. So I think that's the essence of it. You have to disassociate your mind from, I'm a worthwhile person if I'm paid X number of dollars to be someone, and to say I'm a worthwhile person if I'm connected to these people in this community, if I'm part of this and we're making things that are worthwhile. And so we recognized we had a need for that, so we sort of pooled the resources of different groups and started an organization called Centro Hispano that became the group to get things connected with them. I have 67 students from 35 different majors. They're coming from things like engineering and music and dance and political science and health and business, and they're all across the board. And it's just been a delight meeting students every day who have this dream of something that they want to do to change the world, and I'm amazed how many students are already doing it.
So my name is Shannon Clausen, and I'm at Brigham Young University studying international development, and I'm actually a TA for the class that Professor Dixon teaches. I started out by randomly going to Romania to work in orphanages, and next thing I knew there was this whole wonderful field of international development, and I was hooked. So we have a club here on campus called Students for International Development that I'm one of the presidents for, and with the club does the hunger banquet each year, which we last year had about 1,400 students attend, and we had made about $11,000 on that. And so when people come to the hunger banquet, everybody pays the same ticket price, and then when they come in, they're randomly assigned to one of 3 seating areas. The first seating area is the low-income area, which represents the 60% of people in the world that live below the poverty line, which is less than $2 a day. And they get to sit on the floor and eat rice and beans. They get 1 plate of rice and beans to 5 people, and they have to eat it with either tortilla chips or pita bread. Then the second group is 20% of the people that show up are seated in the second group. They're the middle income group, and that would kind of represent places like maybe Eastern Europe, places that are poorer nations but aren't necessarily absolute poverty. They get to sit along the edges in chairs with pizza and like a soda. And then we have the high income group, which would represent what sometimes is referred to the West, or high developed countries like America or Western Europe. And they get to sit at white linen tablecloths with catered meals and black tie waiters and everything. And every person comes in, and we have a guest speaker, and we have entertainment performers from all over the valley. Last year we had Tibetan drummers, and I think an African dance troupe, and a Hare Krishna band, and all sorts of fun stuff. And so it's just a night of cultural immersion and a night of talking about poverty and absolute poverty in the world and how we can help. And then once the evening is over, we take all the money that we make in that evening. We made $11,000 last year, and we pick about 6 organizations to donate that money to. The club decides based on merit and sound development practices where the money should go. So last year we funded a water project in Kenya, and a school project in the Congo, and a reforestation project in Guatemala, and a couple other ones. So that's kind of what I do here at BYU.
When I was looking at your website the other day, I have Comcast for my internet provider, and so I was looking at the advertisements or the news items that were on there, and so it was like what the new movie stars are doing, and what's this the latest disaster and the latest murder and all these stupid things that are on the news. And I thought, I wish I could have an internet server that would be more like what you're putting on your website, that would say, here's what people in ordinary people are doing in different parts of the country to do things. And it's like, why do we have to be distracted by these trivial things that the news is putting on there? I don't really need to know what any of the movie stars are doing. I would like to know what someone in my community is doing to make a difference, or someone in another country is doing to make a difference. So, but I totally agree with you. The future of the world is being created by very ordinary individuals who have these crazy ideas that things can be better, and that they should be helping their neighbors and making the world a better place, and reaching out to people that they don't even know, but they just have this passion that they have to do something.